First of all, I'm going to say a lot about my trip to Chicago, and I'm not bragging. This is my lived experience lately. So I'm going to share that. And then also, I've been kind of fuzzy-headed since I got home. I'm just trying to put things back together, and we walk 13,000 steps a day. We would literally walk until we had no steps. One of us would say, "I'm running out of steps." And that meant we needed to get dinner so that we could go and lie down and have our feet recover for the next day. And so I'm also exhausted, because I had a lot of adrenaline going on while I was there. So I did something I've never done before. I have a friend who's a book editor and writer, and she uses ChatGPT when she's stuck. And she asks it things like, if you were going to do this, how would you do it? And so I asked I thought, I'll just use that, see what happens. So I asked ChatGPT for a lesson, a 15-minute lesson on the topic of being in the world but not of the world. And so ChatGPT spit out the sweetest little lesson that would have been perfect for Presbyterian Sunday school, but not necessarily for Unity. But it did get my mind working. So here's where I am right now. I thought about how can we be in the world but not of the world? Because the world right now that we're seeing outside of us is not a place we want to live. There are a lot of people being persecuted for their skin color and their identity and their nationality and their gender, and it seemed like for a while we were all kind of behind each other, let's go make things better, and it seemed like we were all on the same page about, everybody should have medical care when they need it, and children should be able to eat. It seemed like, and like, it's none of my business how you identify. It seemed like we were kind of going in that direction, and everything seems to have been brought to a grinding halt. So I thought to do it on this topic. And the first thing I found out from ChatGPT is this is not a verse in the Bible. I have thought my entire life that be ye in the world but not of the world. I always thought that was a verse in the Bible. It is not. It is not a verse in the Bible. It seems to have derived from this really sweet prayer in John chapter 17, where Jesus he knew he was going to die, because he saw the writing on the wall, and also I believe he was clairvoyant. I think he knew exactly what was going to happen. So he's kind of praying for his disciples, and he's just talking to God like he does, and he said, that please take care of them. I've done everything I can. I've taught them. They believe me. They've internalized the teachings, and but they're not like other people. That was kind of where he was getting. And there's this two verses, John 17:15 and 16. I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but to keep them from evil. They do not belong to the world, even as I do not belong to the world. Wasn't that lovely? So he's saying, they're changed, basically changed. And the other thing is, one of my very personal favorite verses is from Romans 12, verse 2. Do not conform to the fashion of this world, But be transformed by the complete change that has come over your minds, so that you may discern what God's will is, all that is good, acceptable, and perfect. So that's kind of where unity stands. We are looking to transform our minds, right? That's kind of the main thing we do. So, you know, I love science fiction, and there are a lot of stories that contain the idea that there are two worlds, at least, you know, sometimes many, many more, and that you could just walk through a door. Well, Alice in Wonderland, or The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You know, that you could somehow walk through a door into another world. And one of the worlds is the real world, or what we call reality. But the other world is something else entirely. And here in Unity, we really believe that. We believe that there's an apparent world, illusory. A lot of people think this thing around here is just like a construct of our mutual beliefs about the world. You know, you believe that if you drop your phone, it's going to fall on the ground. You know, we all are very invested in gravity. You know, if you bang on this table, it's going to make a feeling on your hand. We're all invested in the solidity of objects. So we all kind of agree how things are. Here in America right now, we're agreeing, well, probably forever, we're agreeing that things that make you money are more important than things that don't make you money. Even if you have a passion, it ought to make money. We really believe that money is the end, you know, goal of everything. And some people are really invested in that. Like, man, if I don't get the most money, I'm a loser, basically. So that's the real world. But the other world is the inner world. And that's not the real world, but it is the true world. And that's the world, that's the contents of that world are what we call truth, right? And here in Unity, we're real clear about it, that there are facts and there is truth. And we hold the truth in higher regard than the facts, because we believe that the facts can change when we are immersed in truth. Yeah, haven't you seen it happen time and time again? We were just sitting here just a few minutes ago, lost, you know, had no idea what to do, and we said a prayer, answered immediately. That happens all the time, right? You can find, you know, you need 20 bucks, you find 20 bucks. I mean, that I cannot tell you how many times that's happened. The most fun is to find the perfect parking place, of course. That's when you first start manifesting, you know, that's kind of an easy one. Because all you really have to do is change your perception. You know, you no longer think of getting the perfect parking place as something that's really difficult, especially if the parking lot is crowded, right? You go looking there first. You look there first. That a minister of ours said this thing that always sticks with me. You know, he's talking about knock and the door will open unto you, and he says the door you knock on is the one that's going to open. So whatever it is you want, if you're looking there, you're going to find it. That's the truth. So when we were in, I want to share this. I have a friend named Joni Lorraine who's just, I think she's brilliant. She's a spiritual director, are you familiar with that term? It's sort of like a coach, but it's helping you in your spiritual journey, helping you, like how to grow. And it involves a lot of just listening to you, and kind of turning a little corner with you. And she has a blog that's called Divine Compass. Her name is Joni Lorraine, Lorraine. And she had one that was up right when I came home, talking about how are we going to do this? We're really feeling frazzled and a little bit hopeless and, just mad part of the time. Just really angry with what's going on, and we get a little spark of sunlight, and then then something else happens. So her point is that the starting point, the starting place, is the present moment. The present moment is sacred, is what she says. When we rest in what is, we gain access to the powerful and experience the holy. A central question in spiritual direction is, where is the movement of God or the sacred in this experience? Looking for this becomes a portal to gratitude, even in the darkest moments of life. Personally, some of the most profound sacred experiences I've had have come during tragedy. They don't always arrive in silence, though many people do have transcendent experiences that way. The sacred can show up in everything if we're attuned to it. Much of our suffering comes from resisting what is. This can't be happening, right? This can't be happening. From wishing it were otherwise. Presence invites acceptance. It doesn't mean we have to like what's happening, but when we stop fighting the moment, we can begin to notice what's nourishing or meaningful within it. That shift opens the door to gratitude. So I would like to posit that all you have to do to access the inner world, the truth world, is to access beauty or gratitude or kindness. And I have to say, while we were on our trip, we experienced all three of those so often, it was stunning. We had, we're walking around Chicago. Jim was a little bit nervous because it's, a lot of our trips have been out in the open, like to Utah and Colorado and, places where it's mostly just magnificent scenery. Yeah, it's mostly magnificent scenery. So here we are in an urban setting, and he was a little bit nervous about, how's it going to be. We went on this cruise, little river cruise, that just talked about, a guy stood up and talked about architecture and just showed you the architecture of Chicago. It is stunning.
That's great.
Oh, it's wonderful. And the insides of the building are even better. We went to this one place, I decided I would just tell you about my favorite place in Chicago. My favorite place in Chicago is the Chicago Cultural Center. It used to be a public library, the public library. It's across the street from Millennium Park, where you go and see the Bean and all of that. Yeah, Lollapalooza was there when we first got there. But we went in this building, and every surface is beautiful. Every surface is covered with beauty. There are, even like the staircases have mosaics in them. The ceilings have mosaics in them. There are domes, stained glass domes everywhere. There are, and there's art. They have 2 galleries, and this time they had murals. They had like big, room-sized murals that were very colorful and just beautiful. And then we went in this room upstairs that had the work of this lady named Fabiola Jean-Louis. She's from Haiti, and if you get a chance, look up her stuff online. The stuff that we saw was made out of paper. I don't know, has anybody ever made paper? Yeah, and it's kind of slushy at some point. Well, she had made sculptures out of that slushy paper. And then she, and it looked like stone. And then she had, done some other things that were like figures that had, beautiful dresses on. I found out this morning she actually wore one of those dresses. And just the embellishment, she just embellished it with everything you could think of that was beautiful. Beads, mirrors, shells, just amazing glass, pieces of art glass. So that was in there. And then they were playing this wonderful music. It was unlike anything I'd ever heard before. So just like being filled with beauty, and that happened over and over and over again. Jim, when we were walking to the Field Museum, which has coffered ceilings, I've decided that I must have coffered ceilings. We're going to build a new house at some point, and we're coffering some of those ceilings.
Message received.
Yes, message received. But in the Field Museum, they have the coffered. You know what coffered is? It's squares, but each square is covered with crown mold, is outlined with crown molding, right? And in the Field Museum, they have the coffered ceilings, but then in the middle of each ceiling is glass. So it's like every thing is a skylight. And just magnificent, Tell them about that sculpture that you liked on the way to the Field Museum that day.
Oh,
Jim fell in love with this sculpture.
I don't remember what give me a hint.
Legs.
Oh. These things kept showing up. We were going to some other place, and our path took us past these. They were, imagine somebody about 16 feet tall, but only from the waist. So there are these, and there were like 50 of them, or maybe
at least
60 or 70 of them, all standing 20 different directions. But they were like rusty iron, but they were just fascinating. I should have had a picture of them. There's probably a picture of them somewhere. But yeah, and we would find ourselves walking past those time after time. I don't know what was going on with that.
It was on a major street, I think, is one of them. One of the things.
Michigan Avenue or something.
Yeah. But every once in a while we'd be in a bus or something, and I'd say, "Hey, the legs." But there was something about that just captured you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. There were the things themselves, but then their arrangement in the space was.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Part of the deal.
So we kept seeing stuff like that, and then we'd be walking down the street. We went to Chinatown, and their Chinatown is not like San Francisco or New York. It's a little bit more spread out. It's more Midwest, basically. And so you didn't really find yourself in little, Chinese-y enclaves. But right in the middle of the street, there's this big, wide street that runs through the middle of it. And right in the middle of the street is the biggest planter box you can imagine. And it has just flowers of every color spilling out. So this is what I'm talking about, just beauty. And of course, in San Marcos, y'all have a whole bunch of beauty down by the river, you know? Just, that's exquisite.
Mermaids,
Yeah. So finding beauty, I think, connects me to the divine. Because I feel like the creators had something internally that they were trying to express. And I can connect with that impulse to bring beauty into the world. Kindness, we found everywhere. I kind of jokingly call them angels, you know, when you're like at the end of your rope and somebody just shows up. A lot of times in answer to prayer. There were so many beautiful women, mostly, that helped us. There was one lady that, you know, we had taken a wrong train one time and gone the wrong direction. There's nothing more humiliating than that, realizing that you've been on the train for 15 minutes going the wrong direction. So from then on, we were very, very careful to make sure. And so we asked this lady who looked like she knew what she was doing, and she told us the wrong thing. And then she came back to correct, you know. And I thought,
That was kind.
yes, that's kindness. And one of the things I loved about the Chicago Cultural Center was the people at the front desk. And they were so sweet to us and, you know, told us what to see and what they had there and you know, helped us with the train and all of that. Everybody had to help us with the train. Nobody could help us
Yeah.
with buses, but everybody,
Buses were beyond us.
buses were beyond us. But we did have one young woman who sent us in the right direction, which was great.
Yeah.
We were catching the right bus on the wrong side of the street, which meant,
The wrong direction.
yeah, if you go in the wrong direction, I mean, if you're on the wrong side of the street, you're going in the wrong direction. That's just a north-south thing there. But we also had this little Chinese immigrant woman. I'll bet she was about this tall. I was always sitting down when she came by, so I don't know for sure. But her name was Fanny, and she'd lived in Chicago nearly all her life. And she had a wonderful voice. She was always, it was like she was just about to start laughing all the time. She was that full of joy. And every morning, she was the person who took care of the breakfast area. And at our hotel, we had a free breakfast. We always loved that. And it was good too. But she would come by every morning and ask how our day was the day before and what are we going to do today. And it just made us feel so connected and kind of grounded, you know. And of course she had advice about the trains and the buses. Like everyone else, we were really lost a few times. And then, like, even the people who were helping we went to a baseball game, and the people who were helping, you know, with letting people into the baseball game were sweet. So we had so much kindness given us. And then the gratitude, I think I have come to the conclusion that Jim Connelly and I are what you call foodies.
Oh.
We love good food. We like food in general, but really good food, we love it. And we had two restaurants. We had one restaurant that he wanted to go back to again. We had one restaurant that I wanted to go back to again. And so we indulged us both. And just magnificent food. I mean, just thinking about it makes me
Something
happy.
Michelin about one of those.
Oh yeah, there's a guy named Rick Bayless who is some kind of big chef. And he had a Mexican restaurant, Frontera Grill. And he also has a place at the airport.
Oh, yeah.
But that food was just, how did he think of that stuff? You know, I mean, it's like we have our favorite, you know, I cook pretty simply. We have our favorite dishes. They're always good. But this was like stuff, I mean, I had this thing that was like queso flamiato. And it was a little dish about this big. It had chorizo and caramelized peppers and onions and melted cheese all over it. Oh my gosh, that stuff was good. And something else. Of course, there's always something else. There's some kind of sauce or something. Jim had this thing that just drove him mad.
Mole one night.
Mole.
Can't get mole out in the world.
Loves him a mole. Yeah, you have to be invited to somebody's house to get mole most of the time. They had mole. So just our gratitude after a day of walking our feet off to sit down to a magnificent meal, just the best. Chinese food too. We had a really good Chinese. Chinatown. So I think Jesus was always trying to get us to go within to the kingdom of heaven. It's a lot of times it's called the kingdom of God, or kingdom of God. But it's really the kingdom of heaven, I think. I don't think that heaven is for when we die. I don't think that's what heaven is. I think heaven is inside us. There may be something that goes on after we die. A lot of people believe that. And that may, we may go to heaven. But it's here now. That's what he said. It's here inside you. So I think what he was trying to do was to teach us how to create heaven on earth. So all this stuff out here that we apparently agree on is stuff that somebody built. We built it, This little environment, Annalie did that. Somebody bought all this stuff and, she put it all together. It's the same with this hotel. Somebody had that idea. They hired people, brought in. So there's no reason to believe that we can't create heaven on earth. And I think what Jesus was doing was teaching us how to access heaven and then how to bring it out in the world. So we take our gratitude and our appreciation for beauty and our kindness, we access it, however you want to access it. You already have many tools in your toolbox. Part of it, like Joni said, it might be just being quiet. It might be seeing the sacred in whatever's happening to you. You access it, then you bring it out in the world. So how can you be the person that others are grateful for? How can you be the person that is kind to others? How can you create beauty in the world? If you're an artist and you're not creating art right now, you need to get on it. Seriously. So we're going to have this feedback loop, right? Where here we are in heaven. We offer heaven to the world. And honestly, the world is not a whole lot worse than it's ever been. It's always been pretty bad. I don't know if you've watched, like Monty Python or something. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's kind of a funny look at, how it was back in medieval England. Things have gotten a lot better in some ways, but we're not there yet. For one thing, we need to get straight about money. Like, what is enough? What is the proper use of it? What are we trying to do? Can we kind of require people to be a certain way? Is that what you do in government? What is it? We got a lot of stuff to get straight on. But meanwhile, while all that is happening, and I always believe that we don't know what's happening next. We do not know. I have a lady that I took an intuition class from, and she doesn't do futures. She doesn't do the future. She does right now, because there's too many variables. There's all of us, all billions of us, all kinds of, everything's happening. Weather's happening. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future. A lot of unexpected stuff will happen. And some of that stuff will be uncomfortable or tragic or infuriating. And some of it's going to be great. Some of it's going to be beautiful. There's always new music. There are always, people are still printing fabric, So there's always beautiful things to wear. There's always, there are new people. We met every single person that we met on that trip. We never met them before. So there's all kinds of stuff out there. And when we set up that feedback loop, we are constantly both giving, which as we know is more blessed than receiving, but we're also receiving. We're gratefully receiving. We're kindly giving and gratefully receiving all the time. So here's a little thing that I said, okay. Oh, so now we become the beauty. This is what I meant to say. We become the beauty, helping others to see a different way. Enthusiasm does this. Optimism does this. Hope does this, spreading those things. I'm being very, very careful about what I comment on in social media and how I comment. If somebody makes me mad, I'm not going to comment, because for one thing, the algorithm takes that as a response. Oh boy, and amplifies that account. So I just scroll on by. But if somebody is like, I just lost 400 pounds. Give me a clap. Of course I'm going to give you a clap. That's fabulous. So, yeah, be careful about that. Now we allow others to be grateful by helping them. With kindness, we pay it forward. Of course, you're going to be nice to people that are nice to you. But find a way to be kind when nobody asks for it, or when they just seem like they need it. A lot of people need advice, in my opinion. They need to be guided. But hardly anybody accepts that gracefully. So I'm finding ways to be kind instead, And then if you ask me for my advice, I'll give it to you maybe. When you go into the silence, go in gratitude. When you start your prayers, start them with everything you're grateful for. No falling on your knees and gnashing your teeth and pulling your hair out. Okay, we're past that. What we're seeing is what we're grateful for. If you want to take action, take authentic action. You know, if you see a situation and you see a way that you can genuinely help, then do that. Volunteer, donate money, feed people, you know? But I think we're past the point where we need to like stew and just talk smack about people. We all know. We know what you think about them. We all think the same thing. But there are a lot of other people who need to be cared for. And we can do that. We can do it ourselves. So that's it. That's my little talk.
That's great.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to sing, to get ready for meditation, I'm going to sing Karen Drucker chant. And if you would like to sing along, you can. But otherwise, just close your eyes and listen. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Yes, I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Yes, I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. Thank you, God.
Nice.